Headlining Super Saturday, the one and only Kyo Weeks. Just sit back and look at him go.
That is a mesmerising pickup. Look at Weeks.
Nah, Kyo, it should be us bowing to you. You're the king, the little ripper. Rugby League's newest Sultan of Speed.
Canberra, the best show in town.
This Super Saturday, these front-running Raiders are first up at 3.
The Green Machine are the entertainers of the NRL.
The Raiders and the Eels, with gifted athletes of their own.
Still going. Brilliant for the Eels.
Next up, the Bulldogs and the Dragons, featuring the gun Origin three-quarters, Stephen Crichton, and look out, Valentine Holmes.
No one saw that coming.
And finally, a little something to warm us up on a July night in the dead of winter. Dash of old-fashioned rivalry.
Dennis Bush and Shum. It's Manly versus Melbourne. What do you expect? Oh, done again. It's done again.
Both in the top 8, neither inclined to apologise for anything. It's the Storm and the Seagulls.
My goodness! That is from another universe!
Rounding off this Super Saturday, right here on Fox League.
Welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League from every angle. Joining me again, the great Gordon Tallis, listing the journos straight in, James Hooper and Dave Riccio. Origin is one and done, and the race begins for the finals. And Super Saturday, it lights up. Raiders up against the Eels, Bulldogs taking on the Dragons. That sets up to be a beauty with Galvin in the halves and Storm and Seagulls. Storm are flying, the Seagulls desperate for a win. Boys, how good? It's that time of the year.
Pumped up. The Super Saturday teaser was outstanding, Braith. And that game between the Dogs and the Dragons, two arch rivals, famous clubs, a lot of history and a lot on the line Saturday night, given the shake-up to the Bulldogs' playmaking ranks.
It's a good Super Saturday, isn't it? I mean, this is the run home now. This is where it gets nice and dicey as far as everyone scratching for absolute valuable 2 points. But I love what Jason Rolls is doing as far as making big decisions, not only for the now, but for the future as well, and that call around Dylan Brown.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say with Rolsey is with the Dylan Brown call, right? Why didn't they just chip in a little bit of money and let him go? Because if they're going to not even pick him in the
Dylan
side...
didn't want to go.
No, I know he didn't want to go, but if
That's
Parramatta
good signs
had
for the Knights, isn't it?
Absolutely good.
That you pay someone $13 million and he doesn't want to come to you.
Yep, I know. I find it confusing.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah,
We'll get
but do you know what I love about Super Saturday? Super
Out of the
Saturday's
blocks,
outstanding,
mate.
mate.
We're
Calm
out of
down,
the
boys.
blocks.
Hey,
Calm down.
Ben Johnson. Hey, mate, I tell you what, mate, the new host, mate, on Super Saturday. He's
he's flying, isn't he?
I've heard he's a dud.
He's off the tarmac.
I've heard he's a dud. Anyway, Nup Cronulla. What's happening here, Dave? The finals, grand final day. Fans go and get their tickets early. They're looking forward to their team playing their GF, but the Sharkies, they're buying nothing.
Fire up, Sharks fans. They're a very fickle bunch down in the Shire. What's doing?
You're one of them.
Yeah.
Look at
Have
that.
you bought yours?
No, mate, I'm there. I'm there, Braith.
Oh, you got your pass.
I'm there. Look, this is what happens with Sharks fans. Fitzy loses back-to-back games and suddenly they can't win the comp.
Okay.
They need a performance against the Roosters on Friday night, and you watch them clamour for tickets.
Twice as many Titans fans have bought grand final tickets.
You know what it is? It's the cafes, it's the beaches, it's Northies.
It's God's country, bro.
You know, like
Is it?
they couldn't give a, you know what? They're happy on the Shire.
Let's see how they go. See how they go after Friday night.
All right. It doesn't get any tougher for Manly, taking on the Storm at Amy Park, and don't they know it?
Obviously a big test, always hard going down there and facing Melbourne, and they've been playing some pretty good footy. So, yeah, big test for us, but I know the boys will be looking forward to it. We played them early on in the year and they put a bit of a score on us here at home. So, yeah, we'll be looking forward to trying to get that back.
There's obviously no bigger test. They're a great side and they've been doing it for many years, and to go down there to Melbourne, their home ground, there's no bigger test. We had a little tough period a few weeks ago, and we've turned that around with 2 good wins at home, and we've got a big few games coming up. If you're training well and being consistent, yeah, the results can take care of themselves.
Manly's month from hell. They've had a couple of close wins, but they've got a tough draw. They play the Storm, Bulldogs, Roosters and Raiders. Now, if they don't start to get some results here, Hoops, and they crash in these next 4 games, does the speculation and the noise get louder?
I think it does get louder, Braith, if they have a howler over the course of the next month. And I think that wins over West Tigers and South Sydney, while they might have quietened the noise to a degree, they've only papered over the cracks. The issues at the club are still very real and they're still very much there, and they are that there's elements of the playing group who, what I'm told, aren't necessarily always on the same page as their coach, Anthony Seibold, in terms of the philosophy around the style of football that the team plays. So that's not going to get fixed overnight. And if they have a rough month, then I think the noise does get louder. I saw Buzz did his pressure gauge on Monday night where he had Seibs on a 6.5. I reckon he's probably more like an 8 at this point. Yeah.
So Buzz has got it wrong, has he?
Well, it's just opinion, Braith. Okay. Everybody's got
Buzz loves his opinion.
They have flown under the radar due to the fact that they had the bye last weekend, and all this talk around the other coaches and other clubs under pressure. Manly are slipping through, but I think it's only for so long. On the basis that they do play the Melbourne Storm, obviously. We just saw their tough draw there. For me, I've spoken about it before, guys. This comes down to the legacy of Daly Cherry Evans. And how does he want to leave this footy club? How does he want to leave this team at the end of this season? From the way it started and the way it rocketed out of control early doors.
Do you think he cares?
When the headlines hit? Well, I would like to think he cares,
Yeah.
Cordy. I would like to think he cares because... and I think deep down he would care. He would care about wanting to finish on a high. And
he's clearly got beef with figures at the club. That's part of the reason why he's left.
No doubt, Hoops, no doubt. But how do you want to be remembered? And
Well, he hasn't signed anywhere yet, so...
of course not, Brave.
Is that still going? Oh, come on.
That'll do.
Yeah, but like, what is it? Sitting 7th on like 22 points, cut off 28 or 30? So they got to win half of their games. So if they have a tough month, they got to win their last 4 to make the
But
final.
Gordy, flip the script. If this bloke, honestly, if he
Has a crack.
if he has lights out footy for the next 4 weeks,
He needs some
everything
partners in crime
changes
too.
as far as the
But hang
just
on.
on him.
With respect, Dave, they're playing Melbourne,
Yep.
the Dogs, the Roosters and
Yep.
the Raiders. They're going to need a lot more than just DCE
well, he's
playing
got-
11 out of 10
well, he's got
to
to
have
lead
a
'em.
chance of beating those
he's
sides.
got to lead him, Hoops.
Yeah, he needs to lead, yes.
What about Tom and Jay? They're not locked in.
No.
So it's a big end of the year for those two as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, only a month ago there was discussions about potentially re-signing. Well, that's just been pressed pause on. While ever this situation of Tom playing in the centres, we spoke about it before, guys. He suddenly, while ever he's playing centre, that's not fullback money
Yeah.
as far as a contract extension is concerned. So everything's on tenor hooks as far as the Manly Seagulls are concerned right now.
Yeah, tough month ahead for them. Before we go, pressure gauge for what have you got, Seibold at?
I'll go closer with Buzz, around that 7 mark.
Oh, you got him at the 7. Okay.
Still higher.
Yeah. All right, as the Tigers fight to avoid a 4th straight wooden spoon, Adam Doueihi's opened up on his contract and that so-called dust-up with Benji.
First time you've been up since the reports came out about you and Benji having an alleged altercation. Can you clear up what happened there for us?
I think it's all been cleared up. I don't need to add any more smoke to it. So, yeah, it's all done and dusted.
No dramas for you there?
No dramas. I guess when he's running them shapes against us on the ones team, it's a really good practice for us and gets us ready for the game.
Can you enlighten us on where you're at and where you potentially might be next year?
Ask the big boss, Richard.
Would you like to stay here?
We'll see what happens.
With all your injuries, the club re-signed you and showed a lot of faith. Would you like to be given a chance to repay the
We'll see what
faith?
happens.
No Jerome today at training, just given a rest?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know.
What about the quick fire questions? It's like he was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
The century. The fast minute.
No.
The buzzer.
Very friend.
He said, ask the big fella, Richo. No, not big fella. He said the boss, sorry. He said, ask Richo. And the dust-up, though, they've played that down. Is there any truth to it?
He was getting agitated then.
He was
getting asked
agitated.
the questions. It's like they're not offering him a deal. Just sort of reading into it. Because he'd say, oh, listen, we're close to sorting it out. If he knows that his future's settled, you would think that his questioning about the club would be a little bit nicer.
I think there's been discussions of a new deal.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything been forthcoming.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. And clearly, Adam wants to see some proof as far as having the opportunity to potentially be there next year.
On the dust-up, I think the dust-up happened, right? There's no doubt. I've spoken to enough people.
So do I.
There was definitely an incident at training. Benji was, as he often does, he was doing it today as well at the Tigers Centre of Excellence. He puts the boots on and he's on the ground and training with the side hands-on a lot of the time. They've repaired it. They did their best to smother it. It's gone away for now. On Doueihi, I think he has been offered a deal. I think he was lowballed by Richo last week.
Looks like he was.
Yes, I think he was.
If you're going off body
lowballed.
language, and that's just my interpretation of his response, he wasn't happy at all.
I think he was given an offer last week. I'm pretty sure he only wants a one-year deal because obviously we've got a new side coming in 27 as well. There'll be options. But I don't think he's happy with the respect that the club has shown.
What is respect? What's he worth? What what does he do?
I think he's been one of their better players, to be fair, this year. He's had to play a variety of different positions. He's played in the centres, he's played in the halves, he's played 5'8", he's playing lock.
What's a good utility worth?
He's in and around the 400s as far as I'm concerned. Is that unfair? I think he's around $400,000. I think he's a good versatile. He's been super versatile.
So what would they have offered him? If
I think his last 2 weeks have been terrific. I think he's been their best player.
I think it started with a 3, the offer. I think it was about 300.
Hey, Hoops, mate, just back on Benji, was there any 1-2 down Main Street?
Dennis the Bullfrog.
Was there any?
Uppercut, left hook, right hand, no.
No, okay.
Fellas, we've been to training sessions for 25 years now in the NRL. Have you had your coach, a previous coach, run training drills at you and tackle you?
Wayne Bennett went to sign a rugby player, right? Went down to the flats at Ashgrove and run at the rugby player, and the rugby player knocked him out.
Is that true?
Yeah, true. Yeah, and the rugby player was Sam Scott Young.
How long ago is that?
Oh, mate, back in the 90s.
Was that Sam Scott Young?
Yeah, Big Sam. Yeah,
okay.
so Sam was
2 years ago.
going to think of like changing coach, and Wayne run at him and just got douched.
So you don't like Benji putting the boots on?
I find it odd. I just find it odd.
I think I
don't, given he's recently retired. And you know what? Benji's
putting a
always
shot
done
on
it
the team, mate.
Benji's always done it his own way.
No.
Benji's always done it his own way.
I
He rolls
get
to his
that.
own beat.
Gary
right?
Belcher was our sort of conditioner, and he'd run shape on us all the time. And if you get a shot on him, you would.
I do find it strange. I think he has overstepped the mark, and I think he's learned the lessons out of it. Because from what I'm told, is that he is still involved. He was involved in their training session today, but not as hands-on as perhaps what he has been previously.
All right. Now, Jerome Luai, has he delivered this year? Here are some numbers because the great James Hooper's been in the lab. Hoops, take us through your numbers and what you've found out today.
Always problematic when they let me in the lab, Braith, but I managed to make it out again this morning, and 0 tries, 0 line breaks for Jerome. And when you compare him to the other gun playmakers in the competition, Izzy Katoa's obviously leading the way at the moment in terms of try assists. Jerome's figures read a little lean. I also did some homework about his time at Penrith last year. Last year, he was a hell of a lot more active in terms of tries and line breaks.
Different team.
And overall involvement. I know it's not fair to compare the Penrith 4-time premiership winning side with the 3-time Wooden Spooners, but I think it is fair to ask the question.
Yep.
He's been signed as the main man, $6 million deal. The club has pushed their chips all in on him being the player that they're going to build the club around. I think it's going to get there, but the jury's out at the moment.
I think at the start he was trying to find his feet. They had him playing 7 and he was, they had the Galvin situation and he was playing a different style and we spoke about that. He kind of, that instinctive and playing both sides or skipping across field. He wasn't doing any of that. He was getting his kicks in. He was just laying the line and getting the game plan on for his team. So that probably took a little bit of sting away, but he hasn't really blossomed, has he? He hasn't really gone to that next level that we thought he would. And with most halves, you go, okay, yeah, he's having a decent season, he's having a good season, but he's on big money, He's their prize recruit. And they probably do need more out of him, to being honest, right? Is that how you guys see it?
If you compare it to Nico Hines at the Sharks, he's routinely put up on the hoist and there's criticisms of every single one of his performances. Whereas, and I'm not saying that Jerome won't be a good signing. I think in the long term he will, because of his professionalism, because he's come out of a winning system, because the Tigers needed people like him around their dressing rooms. But when you're on that sort of money, you automatically leave your performances open to being scrutinised.
I think he's been a good signing. It's just tapered off a bit, right?
Yeah.
And with the back end of the year being, it's so important to this side for Jerome. It's important for their team, but it's important for Benji. So there's a lot there's a lot on the line. Even though
100%.
they're not really in a position now, well, they are, but they're not, to make finals and push for that. They're playing for more than anyone, really.
You raised a great point in that he started off as a 7, right? He signed with the West Tigers. He spoke openly about, I want to wear that jump up. Benji was my idol as a kid. I want to show everybody that I can step out of Nathan Cleary's shadow and I'm not relevant. I can be the main man. Well, I don't think that suits Jerome's style of play. I don't think it suits the player that he is. And I think we've seen since Latu Fainu came into that side that he's better off just playing a secondary 5/8 role.
I think this is a timing thing. Like it's going to take time for him to adjust, largely because he's not playing with Nathan Cleary. Latu Fainu is not Cleary. Lockie Galvin was not Nathan Cleary. And I think the time for him to adjust has taken longer, I would think, than they would have hoped. Because I agree with you. I don't think he has been lights out at all this season. He's had a decent season. He's had a decent season, but not what we expected of Jerome.
Just quickly on the clause with Jerome, what's going on with that? Will he get rid of that clause or?
I spoke to Jerome 2 weeks ago in Origin camp, and the question was raised: when are you going to make a determination as far as triggering a clause that just rolls over your contract beyond 27? He said, "I will address it at the end of this season. I'll sit down with my manager."
Wow.
If you're in, you roll the clause over. You're in.
He said he's all in fairness to Jerome. I know he's still got the clause there. He's got 2 clauses, back-to-back years next year, and then he can also activate one the year later. But to me, he looks as though he's 100% invested.
He's making all the noises, he is, except for...
They're re-signing Appy,
except
who's his
for
great mate.
the contract.
One comment.
All right, let's move on to the Newcastle Knights. And Dave, you broke the story on Adam O'Brien. Will he be given to the end of the season?
That's my understanding, Braith. Boys, they want to assess the next 7 weeks, right? And it's a damn tough draw for the Knights. As we see it here, the Warriors this weekend, followed by the Raiders. The bye's handy. Penrith, Cowboys, Broncos, and then they finish with Sharks and Parramatta. The next 7 weeks will ultimately determine where the board want to go next. If it is catastrophic over the next few weeks as far as the performances are concerned, then that'll be it. But there is certainly an element in the room that, one, they have significant injuries and it is difficult to assess the performances when your key players are on the sidelines. And second to that is there is a belief that this salary cap roster has been skewed prior to Peter O'Sullivan getting there, of which they've been attempting to straighten up and clean out the roster.
Just on that, right? Was Peter O'Sullivan there when they signed Dylan Brown?
Yeah, that was his star signing. That was his big 4-0.
Yep.
Couldn't have been that skewed to spend $13 million on one player.
Yeah. So, look, next 7 weeks, Braith, we'll see how the performances stack up. But at this point in time, Adam O'Brien will see the season out with Newcastle.
All right, now, will they let Kalen Ponga walk out the door? So, off the back of the O'Brien, the coach, and possibly leaving at the season's end, now we've got Kalen and speculation about him leaving. Has anything developed there?
Meeting in the next 48 hours, Braith, and this will be significant as far as understanding what all the noise is about. Kalen needs to come clean with the footy club. Are you in or you're out? And that's what I understand the next 48 hours.
There's got to be something there, Dave, because it surprises me. We've heard crickets from Team Ponga so far, whether it's Dennis the Bullfrog Andre, his old man. That was quite insightful dialogue, wasn't it? Or Kalen, right? We've heard crickets. If there's nothing doing, then why don't you just come out and say so? Yeah. Newcastle have been trying to get in touch with this agent who is apparently working for Kalen behind the scenes, and the bloke won't ring him back.
If I'm a Knights fan, who's got the power? Can the Knights make him stay out the contract?
I think there's a view, Gordy, that perhaps they'd be prepared to let Kalen go.
The relationship's
They might be
over.
better off, they might be better off.
Right. Is it like
it's not you, it's me.
I don't think it's at that point
They
yet,
don't
Dave.
love anymore.
I don't think it's far
time to
off
move
that.
on and explore other options.
Yeah.
Separation. Yeah,
not
look,
you,
Go
it's
through the
me.
divorce and off you go.
I don't.
Been there, done that.
I think there's a discussion to be had about
clubs.
how much are we investing in Kalen Ponga and how much are we getting out of him. I think the debate is there on whether the return on investment has been worth it.
The other debate is they're a total Muppet show, the Knights administration. Like how they've let this story about Adam O'Brien leak out the way that it has. They probably will move him on at the end of this season. That's the mail. The fact that they've let it get out that Blake Green, who's the current assistant, is the front runner to then replace him. I just find Phil Gardner, I think we've said it plenty of times on this show, Braith, he does a very good job at running leagues clubs and bingo night at the bistro, but we should stick to schooners and schnitzels and not running a rugby league side that's one of the flagship clubs. That tells you everything you need to know about what a Pelican show they are.
And it was a great story by Dave, but that shows you where the club's at. If you want culture, you want people to buy in and you're not buying in, you know, from the top office or from the front office, well, it's really hard if you ask, the players to buy in.
You wrote that story?
This is a club that's built on its history and its people and its passion. And the way they treated Alex McKinnon on Saturday, they've turned their back on.
It's disgraceful.
On that. They've turned their back on what the club is built on. And Alex moves on, that's no big deal, but to Hoops' point, the CEO needs to focus on meat raffles and running leagues clubs and let the football department do their job, because
he's going at the end of the year. Peter Parr will take over as CEO.
Well, that can't happen soon enough.
But even then, he's still the chairman. He's still involved. And this is what happened last time. When they employed Adam O'Brien and Nathan Brown got white-handed, remember he had third parties in between negotiating? O'Brien survived a couple of attempts on his head. We've discussed it on this show. I think it was 18 months ago where they'd made a secret approach to Des. Might have only been 12 months ago.
This is the same CEO that lets Andre Ponga come to press conferences. I mean, we just don't see fathers of players go to press conferences unless they're sons of legends that have previously played the game. There's up to 20 past Newcastle Knights players currently playing at rival NRL clubs. We're seeing the situation with Alex on the weekend. I mean, it's I speak about Adam O'Brien having, the next 7 weeks to at least survive, but how does he really know that, given the way that Nathan Brown was wide-handed for Adam O'Brien to come in?
It sounds like Newcastle need a full reset and clean the decks and start again, unfortunately, for their supporters, because they've got a lot of work to do up there in the Hunter now. What's going on with the Kangaroos coaching job? Has anyone got anything for us on that?
Mystery surrounds Braith, the ARL commissioner protecting it like it's a code to a nuclear warhead.
Why is it that difficult?
I don't know. I really don't know, but I just know from asking a lot of people what he's actually doing and who's going to get it. It made me think that perhaps they were going to change the rule about it not being allowed to be a club coach and that they were going to give it to Wayne Bennett. But I don't think Wayne's heard anything from them.
Well, the question's easy. Wayne, would you give up coaching South to coach the Kangaroos?
Well, he's not going to. He's got a contract with South Sport. He can't give that up.
Where they're at and to be at the pre-season, if I'm a South fan, if I'm the boss of South, I want him there from November 1 or whenever they start training, because that's what they're paid to do.
Yeah, but Wayne's got a clause in his contract with South anyway. He doesn't have to be at training until January.
Well, that's wrong. That's a poor contract.
They gave him that. They gave him that contract.
Well, that's a really poor contract because that's where the hard work's done.
But can't you let some of your emerging blokes like Ben Hornby and some of the good assistants
is he not there the whole
do the hard yakka?
Are you serious?
Is that standard?
No, well, it's not standard
No,
in
for
terms
him,
of
is
other
that what he
coaches.
usually
No,
does?
I think this was...
Hey.
No, this was
okay.
Can I tell you something? Just put it in this scenario. Your missus ain't home. Do you get home on time? It's just that scenario.
That's a poor...
No, because if Wayne's not there and if your teacher's not there, you break the rules. And he did it with us, and then I had to tell him way back when, if you don't come here, don't blame us halfway through the year, right? Because kids don't touch the line, right? And if you can get away with anything, because we're all human, if you can get away without touching the line and working that little bit harder, and I knew when Wayne was at a training session, pre-season, even when we're doing laps, you train harder because your boss is there. And if your boss is not there, in any situation, in any office, I guarantee your boss leaves the office at 3 o'clock, there'll be some blokes pack up their bags, not everybody, pack up their bags and go because the boss is not in the office.
It's like when you're at a restaurant. And if you're not there yourself, the till's always down at the end of the night.
See, you know what I'm saying.
I learned that the hard way too.
I still think they should look at changing the rule for Wayne to take that position because he's got decades of experience, Gordy, in the game, right?
I get that.
His standing is unquestionable and unchallenged, and I think he's the best person for the job.
What if they didn't? If there wasn't blokes like Kevy and Cam Smith
What
and
about
those
them?
guys?
Why don't
Yeah.
if it's Kevy, why don't they just announce it? I'd love it to be Kevy.
Same
Why
here.
don't they just
Mate, I
come
think
out
the
and
game
say-
would be
Yeah.
crying out for someone like Kevy.
They've got to get moving. There's no doubt in the world. I mean, it's not that far away. There's
Why do you think they're not moving quick enough?
look, I understand Peter V'landys is on his way back into the country, and as soon as he gets back in the next 48 hours,
It's
I
hitting him
think
straight in the
hopefully
face.
we'll
It's
get a
Kevy,
decision.
Cam, or I wouldn't even care if it's Billy Slater and Laurie Daly, or Billy or Laurie, right? Because if they're good enough to coach their states, I think they're good enough to coach the country.
Are we getting into the territory now that if we don't announce a coach soon, we're going to be unprepared for the Ashes, or are we worried about that at all?
Absolutely.
I think there's an element of that for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's already gone past that. It's so close. It's only just around the corner.
It's true. It's not that far away.
Yeah, and you've got to play the first game, October. Like, hello.
You just make sure you get home on time. Hoops,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Cameron
Just as
Siriano
it
isn't shying away from his selection gamble with Lachlan Galvin. Take a listen.
Been working really hard on our attack. We've been trying to just evolve our attack and understanding what's going to have to beat those top teams who've got really good defensive systems, and we just felt like we weren't sort of getting there. Yeah, Lockie's been showing some really good signs at training with the way he can, with his natural talent with the ball and how he can unlock players around him. So he's been working really hard. He came up in the coach's box last week, and it was a really good opportunity for him to see what we're seeing. He deserves his opportunity. He impressed everyone with his work ethic and his ability to learn. Well, it was a tough decision because we love Toby as a person, and he's done a great job for us, and we're not giving up on him. But right now, Lockie deserves an opportunity.
Yes, the decision has been made. Lachlan Galvin to start as the 7 for the Bulldogs. And what's amazing about this, Dave, is you've got predictive powers because you've been predicting this for a while and starting to think. Do you have any connections at the Bulldogs?
Well, that's our job as journos, Brave, isn't it?
You've nailed it. Well done.
Oh, well, there's one.
Buzz is on board now too. He's happy.
He's on board. He's blue and white.
That was a big backflip, wasn't it? There was a couple of backflips Monday night. That was a big one. Monday morning, he was playing New South Wales Cup. Monday night, he was wearing the 7 jumper.
What are we thinking about this? Are we all...
I think the Bulldogs have done a stellar public relations campaign, working the phones behind the scenes with every journo and senior media personality in town. I think it's the right call, but I don't think it comes without a fair element of risk. They're nearly on top of the competition and were leading the competition for a long way, and they have tinkered with a winning side in a bid to get better, but there's no guarantees. And their win percentage with Toby Sexton, they win 77% of the games he plays.
Yeah.
33% without him.
Is this it here, is it?
Yeah, this was in the lab again, Braith. They let me back in there again today.
You've been working hard
and
today, Hoops.
I had the lab coat on and was testing out all sorts of stuff. And this is what we came up with.
It's because he has had a lot of success. So I'm not surprised by that win percentage rate. I do think a few of these games were last year when they were tossing.
I'd like to know who against.
It was at the start of the year when Hutchison was in the position. And they didn't quite pull the trigger on Sexton. Remember they let Hutchison stay there for probably a little bit too long, and they held Sexton back. Then he got in, and he's been very good since. And I don't think, it's not about winning right now games. It's about winning the comp. That's the big shift here. It's like they can win. They know they can win club games, and when it gets to the finals, we all know, Gordy, that the level goes up. It's elite. It's the best of the best. You've got to find another level. You've got to be, and they haven't found that for a while now, and they're looking for it.
And I think it'd be hard for a Bulldogs fan to swallow because it wasn't broken, right? If it was broken and you bring someone in, well, you sort of clap and say it's about time.
I debate that, Gordy.
Oh, so you reckon it was broken?
Well, mate, they took on the Cowboys and scored.
Dave, they were on top of the comp.
In the last 4 to 6...
Broken's a big call, Dave.
Not broken's a big mark.
That's what I
It needed
asked.
to be tinkered with. In the last 4 to 6 weeks, they are running last for scoring tries inside 20 as far as the most amount of play the balls are concerned. I've been in the lab as well. Second to that,
Yes.
right, They scored 12 points against a team that's averaging 30 points conceded a game
who
last
was
week.
playing for their
So
season.
could that be the 9, the 6 or the 1 or the centres, or is it just on the half?
Has to be the half. We sit here
Okay.
every night talking about halfbacks. It's the chief playmaker. And I think it's time. I think the page turn-up was the Cowboys' performance, that it's time now to give Galvin his shot.
You know what? Time will tell. Time will tell.
This was always the plan. This was always the plan from the time that it was quite controversial when they signed him mid-season. But it was always that once Origin was over, Lachlan Galvin was going to be the
Quickly on the
halfback.
fans, I think the fans are split. I've heard both sides from, mate, they're going nuts, the fans. They're either fully supportive or they're fully against it.
That's not like dog
I love
fans.
how
There's two
passionate-
sections.
I love how passionate they are.
You can't
mate.
please
The
them
dog
all,
is
trust me,
faithful.
I've tried. Now, Journos, your key player matchups for round 18, thanks to Aussie Broadband are?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. Super Saturday. Lachlan Galvin, the most talked about playmaker in the competition, up against Kyle Flanagan from the Dragons. Let's see who gets the 2 points here.
Well, I mentioned it earlier, the Parramatta situation. I'm really looking forward to seeing Joash Papali'i take on Ethan Strange at the Raiders.
Thank you, Hoops. Thank you, Dave. Up next is the Legends Agenda with Ben Elias and Billy Moore. Welcome back. Now it's time for the Legends Agenda with Benny Elias and Billy Moore. Hello, Legends.
Hello, mate.
Good evening.
It's been a week since Origin, Benny. What went wrong?
3-0.
Yeah, I did say that. Yes, you've been waiting to say that all.
No, I
have.
haven't. Just inner thoughts.
What did you say in the green room?
Can I say, hands up, they played the better. They got us on the hop. We took them for granted. You never, ever take it for granted, and we did. I thought maybe a little bit too much early in the half.
Too confident, you reckon, then?
They were a better side. They were a better side. They were very well prepared. But also on the New South Wales side, we were very well prepared. If you had to ask me, which I believed in New South Wales, obviously, through and through, but before the game, I would have given you left and right arm for New South Wales. But mate, they were just too good.
Do you think that they underestimated? Because I saw this performance in Queensland last year in Game 3. It went to the 73rd minute. We didn't have Cameron Munster and Tino. This year we had Cam Munster, right? So that was the difference for me in the series. And Tommy didn't come in.
The question then is asked, but how do you underestimate Queensland?
Well, yeah. I mean,
at your own risk. I thought if you look at the roster, that New South Wales side, everyone deserved their spot. If they are good players, great players. I look at the Queensland roster and I go, wow, I was proud of it. What I think the difference was, in our roster, there were some players that had career best games or thereabouts over Game 2 and Game 3. I look at the New South Wales team, probably To'o is the only player I went, he was near his best. Yeah. I just don't reckon the New South Wales players individually as a group played anywhere near their capacity, whereas our guys did.
Yeah. I'll tell you the similarities. Last year, Madge sacked the captain, best player in Tedesco. This year, the captain was also sacked from the Queensland side.
Good point.
And
great point.
Both sides lifted them well and truly above. And those players that took their places were basically the best players of the series. Last year, Edwards was without doubt.
Did we
this
miss
year,
Madge?
Didn't. Sorry?
Did we miss Madge?
Of course we miss Madge. I mean, Madge has been a terrific, he came to the scene, coached for 1 year, won the series that we weren't meant to win, and it was extraordinary. 1-0 down last year, and coming back like they did and being so dominant certainly shows his worth.
So similar to what Slater did, down 1-0, come back.
Yeah.
I was at a function at the Bears last year. Maguire signed with the Bronx. He honoured the function at our club. He's turned up, he spoke about it for 5 minutes. Then he went through, over the next 20 minutes, proceeded to tell us exactly what he did to conjure the win in 2024. It was scary. He played this video. I was nearly in tears. And it was all about Steve Mortimer. Madge got Origin. And when you think about Game 3, when New South Wales ran out, they were fully primed. That was the best defensive performance I've ever seen from New South Wales in that second half of Game 3 last year. So Maguire had them humming. That didn't happen this year.
Benny, you guys tend to eat each other up. Nathan Cleary, is it fair how people are putting the whole series loss on him?
No, it's not fair. No, he's a superstar player, and a superstar player. I would have made him captain if it was me. I would have made, because Nathan likes that extra responsibility. He's a leader, and you know he likes to own the game. And I just don't believe in State of Origin 1, 2, and 3. He never truly owned the game and was the leader. And I think making him the captain would have given that extra responsibility. And if there's anyone that you want to give extra responsibility to, is Cleary.
Yeah. Is he fully fit?
No, you wouldn't think so, would you? Like, well, if you're not doing goal kicking, it just says that there's a risk in the back of your mind that something could go.
But you talk about adding responsibility. Munster, when he was given that responsibility, we just knew he was going to lift. So you might be right. Maybe it's time.
And there was a lot of emotion. The Queenslanders had a lot of emotion, especially when Stephen Munster passed away. You just knew that they were just going to go to the next level. And cheers to them, mate. All I can say is congratulations to them. And they were the better
Benny,
side.
but next year you'll win 3-0 again. So
I will always say that, of course, Gordy.
And you got it because it's your state.
And I think.
Tell me this, but what about the Tigers? Right, they're in danger of their third wooden spoon.
Yeah.
Right. How do they get out of the situation?
Look, we're under enormous pressure. I think between the board and the coach, there's a breakdown there at the West Tigers. You know, when I was on the board when we won in 2005, I was the conduit between the board and Tim Sheens. And if he wasn't going well, you'd have to give reasons why and report it back to the board. I don't think we've got that structure at the West Tigers at the moment. And I think the more that you're accountable, and you can say, you know, we love Benji, which we do. We love Benji. But you've got to be accountable. And unfortunately, we're one game away from... We're playing the Titans this weekend. I mean, if they beat us, we're almost last, dead last. On for and against, we might be second last. But it's so much pressure now. And, look, we've got to be accountable. And all I can say is that, you know, Luai's come over to our club this year. Big money. And earlier tonight on the show, you look at his statistics, they're not that flattering.
But I don't think he's delivered then.
I don't believe for a bloke getting paid $1.4 million a year, you go have a look at the Dally M numbers, what he's got. I'm sure you'd be very disappointed if you invested that type of money.
If you've got Luai now in that squad, he has to stay. You've got to see out the journey with him. I think to change captain of the ship, so to speak, for the Tigers would be absolutely disastrous. And I know they're not travelling well, but you've got to buy into to think that the pathway we're on is okay. They've just got to hone their skills. And I think their weakness to me is their inability to defend mistakes. They're always going to play a risky style of football. But when they get themselves to buy in defensively, that'll allow that sort of risky attack to be covered by the defence. At the moment, the defence is too flimsy.
All right, now reports are that Newcastle are going to report ways with Adam O'Brien. Is that the right move?
Yeah, I reckon it is. When you look at the record, this is his 6th year. 6th year, and the club has struggled. If you take out that period where Ponga carried them into the finals, it hasn't worked. Now, 6 years is a long enough window, in my humble opinion.
One finals game win. In 6 years.
Correct.
Well, who are the coaches that can take over?
That's a really good point. And it's easy to say, get rid of this bloke, get rid of this bloke. I'll throw this bloke's name up. Willie Peters, head coach of Hull KR. He's gone over there 3 years ago, and a poor squad. He's put polish on it. Last year they won the league. This year they won the Challenge Cup, and are leading again. This guy was, with all due respect, a battling first grader that must have learned how to learn great skills. He's now learned how to transfer that to players. Willie Peters, mark my word, this guy needs to have a crack at the big league here in the NRL. Not sure who's going to take him on, but that's a guy I'd go for.
And you're going to laugh at me, who I think Danny Baderas should be the man for the job up there. He's so loved up there, and he's got so much respect.
Is he interested, do you know? Or it's
I don't know. Well, he's been there. He's in there day in, day out. He's the assistant, and
Is he too nice? Like, remember when he did do it, like a few years ago?
Yeah, he filled in, didn't he?
Yeah, like he did fill in. And I'd love to see, like, something about Newcastle. I think it belongs to Newcastle for some sort of reason.
They're a mini version of Queensland, of the Broncos, really. The Novocastrians up there love their football more than life.
Willie Peters makes,
Well, they do. They do look a little bit like Queenslanders. They're good looking. They're clever. Novocastrians. But it needs to have Knights DNA, Novocastrian DNA all over that. That's when they're at their best.
All right, now it's time for What Do We Love, and thanks to Maccas. I'll start with you, Billy.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, the Battle of the Sevens. The two best new guys in the game, Katoa versus Dearden.
Oh, yeah.
That in itself is worth turning on for.
Yeah, well.
Other than the Tigers-Titans game for the big battle of the bottom of the table, but it's I'm looking at this the police rugby league sides, mate. I've got to tell you, next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's Seabus up there in your territory, up there at the Gold Coast, where it's the best Australian players in the police force, both state and federal police, where they meet.
I've watched a couple of these games. They give it to each
Oh,
other.
mate,
I've been to the carnival too.
Mate, good plug for the coppers, do you? I'll be loving you after this, Benny.
Well, it is. You never know when you need the old boys in blue, you know. But it's all the great thing,
See you later,
Braith.
Mr. Elias. Good night.
It's men and women, so it's for both men and women all around the country.
God
they pick
bless
an
them.
Australian side for the men and an Australian side for the women. Billy, you're going to be there?
I'll be there. Look, this is a good tournament, and it's always good to know the police.
Good on you, boys. Well said. Thank you, legends.
Thank you,
The
guys.
Open Championship begins tomorrow night on Channel 503 following The Late Show with Matty John. Welcome back this Sunday live from Las Vegas. Tszyu gets his chance at redemption against Sebastian Fundora. And Peter Bedell is live from the Courier. Mail joins us live from Las Vegas. Bomber, is this make or break for Tim?
Yeah, look, I think it is, Braith. I mean, two straight losses on American soil was devastating, and I think third time unlucky for Tim would be simply catastrophic. He can't afford to lose this fight. I spoke to Tim today at training, and he said to me, 3 words, this is it. And that underlines just how desperate he is. It's do or die for Tim. And if he loses this fight, guys, it's back to domestic mediocrity. None of us in Australia want that. But I believe that Tim will get the job done on Sunday. He's fit, he's sharp. I think he'll knock out Sebastian Fundora.
Bomber, you mentioned his training, and all we've been hearing out of Las Vegas is how hot it is. How's his preparation been?
Oh, it's been sweltering, Braith. Lucky Buzz isn't over here. His makeup had dead set peel off. Thank God for that. But look, it's been days of 39, 40, 41 degrees, and it was quite stifling today. And Tim's been training in air-conditioned gyms, which is pretty fortunate. But I've got to say, guys, looking at him, he's the best I've ever seen him. I really mean that. He's about 73 kilos at the moment. He has to get down to 70 kilos come fight day or weigh-in day. And he's right on track. He's 2 kilos ahead of where he was against Joey Spencer in April. So his preparation's been perfect, immaculate, no excuses. It's now time for Tim to get the job done.
Hey, Peter Scordy, how has Tim been with the American fans with that famous Tszyu name? How has the reception been?
Oh, it's been amazing, guys. I mean, I've been just staying here at the MGM Grand where Tim's entourage are, and Tim walked into the foyer today and he had a stack of Mexican fans just cheering out, Warrior, Warrior, a reference to his first fight against Fundora, of course, when he had that shocking head gash that required 10 stitches. So he's got a lot of support here from Mexicans, and ironically, Fundora's got Mexican blood. So I don't think we'll see the pro-partisan Fundora crowd that we might think here at MGM Grand on Sunday. There's a lot of fans behind Tszyu, and he's ready to get the job done. I think he will, but he's got a lot of support from people outside of Australia, which is good to see.
Yeah, how has Timor Fundora's confidence been? Have you seen both of the guys weigh in, and who do you think's got the upper hand when it comes to confidence?
Yeah, it's a good question. Look, I think Fundora's been elevated by his victory. I mean, I think it's given him another 10 or 20%. And I know Johnny Lewis, the great man, always said if you win a world title, you gain 10%. The loser loses 10%. And that differential can be the difference in a rematch. And so I know Fundora's needled Tim in the lead-up. He said that he questioned whether he actually had real visibility when he had the cut in his head. He said he could see every punch I threw. So he's needled Tim's fight back. So Fundora thinks he'll get the job done. And he said, we saw blood last time. This time, I'll knock him out.
Bomber, the big story out of the first fight was the cut. Now, apparently Tim's hired the same cut man. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, Braith. So he stayed loyal, Tim, and he's kept Mark Gambin. Now, he was the controversial cut man, of course, here in Vegas last year, who copped a lot of criticism for his inability to stem that massive cut. The reality is, guys, Tim's surgeon said no cut men in the world, even the best of them, wouldn't have stopped that cut. It severed an artery, and so Tim showed faith. However, they've had some pretty honest meetings about what needs to take place. Tim said there's been some ownership taken from all parts of his team. He's keeping the same team, but if the pressure arises and there's another cut in the fight early in the fight, they'll be under pressure to stop it because they can't afford another loss for Tszyu.
Bomber, the fight obviously in Vegas, but it's at the home of boxing, the MGM Grand. How special is that?
Oh, look, it's a remarkable venue, Braith, and there's familiar storylines here for Tszyu. Of course, his great father, Kostya, won here at the MGM Grand, just behind me at the Garden Arena. November the 3rd, 2001, he knocked out Zab Judah to unify the division. He became undisputed super lightweight champion, and it was on the 7th birthday for Tszyu, and when he returned to Sydney Airport, the great image of Tim as a young boy running to his dad with the belts blazoned around him. So there's special memories here for Tszyu. There's been big fights here, Evander Holyfield against Mike Tyson. They've had Pacquiao here against Mayweather, so there's been some big blockbuster fights. Now Tim gets to walk in his father's shoes on Sunday.
Yeah, Bomber, can't wait for this one this weekend on Main Event. Now, you've come a long way, Bomber, from the mean streets of Maroubra to Las Vegas. How are you handling it over there? You're staying out of trouble? What are you up to?
Oh, look, the bra boy revels in Sin City, guys. Why would I go back? And I hope my missus isn't watching because, honey, I'm sorry, honey, I'm not coming back. I'm staying here for NRL Vegas next year. I'm here for the next 8 months, staying at Resorts World, and Peter V'landys is paying for it. But, guys, don't forget this fight for fans back home, 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. You can buy it now on mainevent.com.au. It'll be a blockbuster. Here we go. Let's go, Tszyu.
You're on your Bomber. The Hangover Part 4. Enjoy the fight and enjoy all the fights on the card. Oh, very jealous. Thank you, Bomber. Following NRL 360, it's the latest edition of The Fan.
You like that, Toby? You like that, Toby?
Welcome back. It's time for an update from Sportsbet with Joel Kane. Joel, Buzz's celebration, is that Try July worthy that we just saw? Something.
You know what? Unprecedented. Buzz, you beautiful thing. $10,000.
10 grand for
on
that.
top of the play. 10,000.
Is that from
It's a one-off thing. Buzz, you beautiful thing. 10K. And those players, you can thank Buzz next time.
Is that from Tom Dearden's winnings from his...
my tip.
Wally Lewis.
Well, you know what?
That was a good
tip.
Yeah, it was a good tip. But the best part about it is the feed, right? So on this very program, we tipped it. We shared this love together.
$61.
Right? And Gordon, you were all over
The sweet spot.
So you can copy the bets on the feed. There was nearly 300 people who watched this show who immediately copied that bet at $61.
$61.
Okay, so you can copy all the bets on the feed. I'll put all my roughies up there. You don't want to hear me. The best bets are on Get 'em On Side with Shawnee and Dan. But this is a little watch here. Now, the Dolphins are taking on the Cowboys. They rested Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, the Dolphins, last week.
Yep.
Toddy had to go and play all his players. But since the 29th of June, boys, look at the traffic the Cowboys have played. Look what the Dolphins have been asked to play. With all those players backing up as well, they flogged them last time. They've much improved the Cowboys, but I've got to say, well, I'm not going to tell you. It's on the feed.
It's on the feed.
I've got my bet relating to this. I've got a few roughies up there for you.
All right.
Check it out.
So you're liking the Dolphins, though, this week?
Go and check it out. Hey,
Check it out.
Buzz, you beautiful thing, 10K. Well done.
10K, beautiful.
Rugby League Players Association pushing it hard too. Boys, great show as per usual.
Good on you, Joel. We'll see you next week.
See you then.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Gordy.
mate.
That's it for NRL 360 for this week. Now it's time for The Fan.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.